Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the video series on the 6 functions of teaming for the change and implementation process. This series is produced by the Capacity Building Center for States and funded by the Children's Bureau. In this module, we're going to break down the second task in teaming for the change and implementation process. Identify team members and a teaming structure. Remember, at this point, a team has already identified the team purpose. In this video, we will talk about identifying the team members and the teaming structure before moving on to the team charter, communication plan and external communication strategy, working together to guide the implementation process, and then debrief, evaluate, and identify next steps. Let's get started. Agencies should think critically about identifying team members to ensure there is representation from individuals across all levels and positions within the organization. Having team members with varied knowledge and skills encourages the team to consider multiple ideas and approaches, to look at the ideas from various perspectives, and anticipate a range of outcomes or impacts. Agencies should identify teaming structures to clearly define the team member roles and responsibilities, especially when multiple teams are needed to facilitate the change and implementation process. Defining team structures also encourages collaboration and flexibility, as some team members may serve roles on multiple teams simultaneously. Before forming a team, it is important to think broadly about the roles of various team members to ensure that the organization has identified the right team members for those roles and then clarify the expectations. Organizations building teams should consider identifying team members in several ways, including the needs of the team or subteam, and the roles that individual members will have on the team, the size of the team and subteams, and the skills, experience, and availability of selected team members to work on the team, as well as all of the stakeholders that need to be represented. One way to think about the team roles is the 3 C's of implementation teams, including collaborators, cooperators, and coordinators. Collaborators are indispensable to the process and have decision-making authority related to the change and implementation work. For example, the core steering team leads or sub-team leads. Cooperators provide input as stakeholders, but may not have a final say in work or decisions. For example, sub-team participants, community members, or core steering team members in a consultant role, such as the General Counsel. And coordinators ensure that the work and events do not duplicate or overlap with each other or similar related efforts. They provide organizational support and are critical to facilitating communication efforts. For example, the project manager, sub-team leads, or system partners. Team size is also an important consideration. The team should be large enough to include a variety of skill sets and perspectives, but small enough to continue to be productive and collaborative. There is no right number of team members, since the size of the team will depend on the needed expertise and roles, the number of stakeholders, and the scope of the implementation effort. The core steering team typically will have about 5 to 7 members who have appropriate decision-making authority and oversight of the major functions of the sub-teams. Organizations should engage both staff and community members to teams in the change and implementation work to increase the team's capacity to consider many approaches and ideas. Identifying staff team members across all levels and positions promotes staff engagement and buy-in, allows the team to benefit from their knowledge and expertise, and increases the likelihood of implementation fidelity. Identifying community members, for example, families, partners and service providers, as well as court and legal representatives, and then consultants or advisors to the change process, will help to increase community responsiveness and to facilitate community buy-in for the intervention. Team members who understand community strengths and challenges and who have a shared history or lived experience with child welfare-involved families can be incredible assets to the team and promote stronger community agency relations. Team leaders should consider the approaches that would be most useful for engaging these team members and to prepare them to participate in the most beneficial way. For example, agencies may conduct community outreach to identify team members with a variety of perspectives. They might make resources available to support their full participation, for example, language interpreters, and provide coaching to support conversation around potentially challenging topics. Ideally, teams may need members with specialized experience for the best chance at success. For example, problem exploration and theory of change development specialists, CQI, data collection and analysis, organizational systems change, those with relationships and communication with stakeholders, as well as knowledge of the intervention. Specialized skills and decision-making authority within the organization or system will ensure continued alignment of the organization to sustain the intervention. It is also important to identify critical team leadership. A critical member of every implementation team is the team leader, who heads the core steering team and serves as a liaison between agency leadership, external stakeholders, and the core steering team. In addition, having a project manager to track progress and complete administrative tasks contributes to the team's success. If the team does not have a separate project manager, the team leader or another designated team member may take on this role. When multiple teams are needed to facilitate the change and implementation process, a clear teaming structure should be created by the core steering team. It is important to note that there is no single correct way to create a teaming structure. The most effective teaming processes leverage an agency's culture and build from its existing structures and processes. The following activities and teams are examples of how an organization might begin to develop a teaming structure. 1. The Executive Leadership Committee forms a core steering team to plan and guide the process. Then the Executive Leadership Committee invites stakeholders to join the External Partners Committee to provide input and advocate for the change within the community. Then the core steering team leader identifies additional team members as needed to lead the sub-teams and join the core steering team. Core steering team then works through the team charter and the communication plan for each of their teams, which are essential functions 3 and 4, to clarify that team structure, and then identify sub-teams, leads, and sub-team members as needed. Once assembled, each sub-team should work through the same teaming steps for that team. When organizations are identifying team members to participate in change and implementation teams, the following considerations can help. Thinking broadly about the roles of team members. Do the team members include a variety of perspectives and skills that meet the needs of the work? Do they represent the organization across all levels and roles? Do the identified team members have the availability and capacity to take on the tasks of serving on the team? Do the identified team members include individuals and leaders from the communities served by the agency that understand community strengths and challenges? As a reminder, there is no single correct way to build a teaming structure, and no single right size for a team. These considerations can help organizations identify teams and develop a teaming structure that is well prepared to take on the task of managing and implementing change initiatives. Let's check in on the example. Initially, Diamond County determined that they needed an executive leadership team, a project management team, and a stakeholder advisory committee. When identifying team members for each of these teams, they considered the needs of the team and the knowledge, skills, and abilities of all team members. The executive leadership team is led by the agency director and has other agency leadership and key decision makers. The project management team, or core steering team, has managers and administrators, as well as potential sub-team leads, such as an overall project manager, a human resources lead, data, IT, and CQI leads, a training director, a policy lead, practice area leads, a general counsel, a parent representative, and a communications lead to help with the implementation of the new intervention. The county also created a stakeholder advisory team to help identify the needs and services of their families within the county that come to the attention of the child welfare system. This team is led by the agency director and includes court representatives, mental health and substance abuse providers, nonprofit and private service providers, a representative from the state legislature, as well as parents and youth. It sounds like the agency is gathering a diverse team that comprises all levels and positions to lead the implementation efforts. What do you think might be their next step? The next step in teaming is to develop the team charter. Let's take a moment to check in on what you've learned about identifying team members and a teaming structure. Why do agencies identify team members and a teaming structure? To ensure diverse representation across all levels and positions within the organization, and to define the roles and responsibilities, as well as encourage collaboration among teams. How do agencies identify team members and a teaming structure? By selecting team members based on the needs and size of the team, the roles they will have, and the skills and availability to participate, and building a clear teaming structure that leverages the agency's existing structures. What can help agencies identify team members and a teaming structure? By thinking broadly about the roles of team members to include all levels and positions, considering capacity to serve, and including community members that understand the strengths and challenges. Now, take this a step further by reviewing the reflection questions for identify team members and a teaming structure in your teaming workbook to connect what you've learned to your own experience. Up next is develop the team charter, the third function in teaming for change and implementation.